Ladies and gentlemen, before you speak, before you write, before you stand in front of an audience, you must first ask yourself one critical question: what do I want? This is not a question of convenience, it is a question of clarity. And without clarity, everything else falls apart. It may sound simple, but this question, what do I want, shapes everything that comes after it. In life, in communication, and especially in speech, this one question is the foundation. First, let's start with understanding your purpose. Why are you speaking? What is the goal of this communication? Is it to inform, to persuade, to inspire, to entertain? You cannot effectively craft a speech without understanding your objective. If you approach it haphazardly, your audience will feel your confusion. And worse, they won't trust you. The lack of a clear purpose causes disarray in the message you are sending. Know what you want from your speech, because that is the first step in ensuring that your audience knows what they should take away from it. Once you understand your purpose, define your audience. Who are they? What are their interests, concerns, and values? Is your speech for a group of colleagues, students, or a more general audience? Are they experts in the field, or are they just beginning to learn about the subject? You must tailor your speech to meet their level of understanding and emotional engagement. The language, tone, and depth of your speech will differ depending on the audience, and you must be deliberate about this. A good speaker does not assume a good speaker listens, observes, and adapts. Your message must land with the people in front of you, not with some abstract notion of what you think your audience should be. With purpose and audience in mind, the next crucial step is to know your message. What is the central theme? What is the one thing you want your audience to remember when they walk out of the room? This focus is vital, because without it, your speech will drift. It will become a collection of thoughts and ideas that are loosely connected but fail to hit the mark. You might have good points, but no clarity of direction. A confused message is not a message, it's noise. One core idea, one central theme, is what must shine through every word you say. Everything else should be subordinated to this central point. Once you know the message, clarity in communication becomes paramount. Clear thinking leads to clear speaking. If you haven't fully clarified your own understanding of the topic, your audience will feel that uncertainty. You'll stumble over your words, hesitate, and seem unsure. But when you are confident in your understanding, your words will flow more easily, and your audience will sense that. This is why it's essential to think before you speak, to organize your thoughts thoroughly before you start writing. The clearer you are in your own mind, the more effortlessly and effectively you'll communicate your ideas. That brings us to the next point: structure is key. A speech, like any meaningful form of communication, needs structure. Start with a strong introduction where you lay out exactly what you'll be discussing. Give your audience a roadmap. Then, move into the body of the speech where you develop your ideas logically, building on one another, each point leading to the next. Finally, conclude with a summary that reinforces your central message. A good structure will guide your audience through the speech and help them stay engaged. Without structure, you risk losing them. Without clarity in the way you organize your thoughts, your message will fall apart and your audience will become lost. And let's talk about simplicity. In today's world, we often believe that complexity equates to intelligence. We overcomplicate things in an attempt to sound sophisticated, but here's the truth: simplicity trumps complexity every time. Clear, straightforward language ensures your audience can grasp your message quickly and without struggle. You don't need to overwhelm them with jargon, convoluted phrases, or overly detailed examples. The truth is simple. It's often the most simple things that have the greatest impact. So when writing your speech, focus on making your ideas accessible, not impressive. As you prepare, you must also anticipate questions and objections. A good speaker doesn't wait for the audience to become confused. Instead, they foresee potential misunderstandings or doubts and address them head-on. It's not enough to simply present your ideas, you must be prepared to defend them. Think critically about your message and consider the questions your audience might have. What are they likely to challenge? What might they not fully understand? Addressing these issues in advance strengthens your argument and builds credibility. Finally, be authentic and convincing. None of the above matters if you don't truly believe in what you're saying. You can have the most well-organized, clear, and simple speech in the world, but if you're not authentic, your words will ring hollow. Your audience can tell when you're not convinced by your own message. They can feel it in the way you deliver your words, in the hesitation in your voice, in the lack of passion behind your eyes. If you aren't clear on what you stand for, your audience won't be either. Speak with conviction. Speak with honesty. Speak with integrity. So before you start writing your next speech, ask yourself again, what do I want? Clarify your purpose. Know your audience. Define your message. Organize your ideas clearly. Simplify where you can. Anticipate the tough questions. And most importantly, speak with authenticity. When you take these steps, your speech will resonate, your message will be heard, and your audience will walk away changed, as they should be. You must first ask yourself one critical question: what do I want to achieve? This question may seem obvious, yet it is often overlooked, and it's where the foundation of any meaningful communication begins. The clarity with which you answer this question will shape everything that follows, from the structure of your speech to the impact it has on your audience. Without a clear sense of purpose, your message will be disjointed, and your audience will struggle to grasp its meaning. So, it's not just a matter of preparing to speak, it's about understanding the deeper reason why you are choosing to communicate in the first place. When you have a clear understanding of your purpose, the whole speech writing process becomes focused and intentional. Take a moment to reflect on the specific outcome you desire from this speech. Are you attempting to persuade your audience to adopt a new perspective, or are you simply trying to inform them about a subject? Perhaps you aim to inspire action, to motivate your listeners to take steps toward change. Or maybe you are hoping to entertain, to capture their attention and provide a welcome respite from the seriousness of daily life. Whatever it is, your purpose will dictate the tone, structure, and even the style of your speech. For example, if your goal is to persuade, you need to craft your arguments in a way that appeals to both logic and emotion. You would want to present your points clearly, with solid evidence and reasoning, while also appealing to the emotional side of your audience. Persuasion is about more than just facts. It's about creating a connection with your listeners, helping them feel what you feel, and guiding them toward the conclusion you want them to reach. On the other hand, if your purpose is to inform, you will need to prioritize clarity and simplicity, ensuring that the audience leaves with a solid understanding of the topic at hand. In an informative speech, your focus is less about emotional appeal and more about making the information accessible and memorable. If your intention is to inspire, you must connect with your audience on a deeper, more personal level. You want them to leave your speech feeling a sense of purpose or urgency, ready to take action to change their way of thinking, or to step into a new reality. In an inspirational speech, your language should be empowering, your message hopeful, and your delivery filled with energy and passion. The words you choose should ignite a fire in the hearts of your audience, compelling them to believe in the possibility of change. And if your goal is to entertain, the stakes are a little different. Your purpose here is to engage the audience with humor, creativity, and a narrative that captivates their attention. You want them to laugh, to relax, and to enjoy the experience while still conveying a sense of meaning or value through your storytelling. No matter the purpose, it is vital to remain grounded in your goal throughout the entire process of crafting your speech. It is all too easy to get sidetracked by tangential ideas, or to include information simply because it sounds interesting. But every element of your speech should align with your overarching purpose. For example, if you are delivering a persuasive speech, including irrelevant anecdotes or abstract ideas that don't directly support your main argument can dilute the impact of your message. Every point you make, every piece of evidence you present, and every story you share should serve your ultimate objective. Clarity of purpose also helps you avoid common pitfalls, such as overwhelming your audience with too much information or making your speech too broad in scope. When you are clear about what you want to accomplish, you are better able to set boundaries for yourself and ensure that your message is focused. It enables you to leave out unnecessary details, helping you stay on track and maintain the attention of your listeners. An unclear purpose often results in a speech that feels like a rambling collection of ideas, rather than a coherent, well-thought-out argument or narrative. The clarity you establish in the beginning will also guide your choice of language, delivery style, and supporting material. If your purpose is to persuade, you might include statistics, case studies, or examples that highlight the need for change. If you're trying to inform, you might rely more heavily on clear explanations and straightforward language. Knowing what you want to achieve allows you to select the right tools to achieve it, making the entire speech more effective and impactful. In sum, clarifying what you want to achieve before writing a speech isn't just a preparatory step, it is the very foundation upon which your speech is built. It shapes the way you approach your audience, the language you use, and the ideas you present. Without this clarity, your message risks becoming disjointed and ineffective. But with a clear purpose, you can craft a speech that resonates, inspires, and leaves a lasting impression. When preparing a speech, one of the most important considerations is your audience. Who are they, and what are their expectations? Understanding your audience is crucial because it shapes how you deliver your message, what language you use, and even the examples and references you choose. If you do not know who your audience is, your speech may miss the mark, failing to connect with those who are meant to hear it. In fact, a speech that does not consider the audience's values, needs, and perspectives is likely to come across as disconnected and ineffective. The first step in understanding your audience is to consider their demographic characteristics. Are they young or old? Are they professionals, students, or a mixed group? The age, background, and education level of your listeners will greatly influence how you structure your speech. For example, when speaking to a group of experts in a specialized field, you may use technical jargon and delve into complex ideas. On the other hand, when addressing a general audience, particularly one with little background in the subject matter, you must simplify your language and provide more context for clarity. If your speech is intended for a specific community, such as a local neighborhood or cultural group, the language and examples you use should be tailored to their experiences, making the message feel more personal and relevant. In addition to demographic factors, it's important to consider the psychological and emotional state of your audience. What are their concerns, desires, and values? Are they open to new ideas, or are they more resistant to change? Understanding the emotional tone of your audience allows you to gauge whether you need to be more empathetic, assertive, or inspiring in your delivery. For example, if you are speaking to an audience that is feeling disillusioned or uncertain, your speech may need to offer hope and reassurance. You may need to inspire confidence or provide a compelling vision of a better future. In contrast, if you are speaking to an audience that is already enthusiastic or motivated, your approach may be more about reinforcing their existing beliefs and energizing them further. Knowing your audience's expectations is another key factor. What do they expect from you, and what do they want to take away from your speech? Are they seeking practical information, or are they looking for entertainment or inspiration? If you fail to meet their expectations, they may disengage or feel dissatisfied. If your audience expects to learn something new, your speech must be informative and structured in a way that makes the material clear and accessible. If they are seeking entertainment, your speech should engage their emotions and keep them entertained through storytelling, humor, or engaging anecdotes. If they are hoping for inspiration, your words must uplift and motivate, providing a sense of possibility and encouragement. The cultural background of your audience is another important consideration. Different cultures have different communication styles, and being aware of these differences can help you avoid misunderstandings. For instance, some cultures may place a high value on formal language and structure, while others may appreciate a more relaxed, conversational tone. Similarly, humor can vary greatly between cultures, and what might be considered funny in one context could be offensive in another. Being sensitive to these cultural nuances can help you connect with your audience in a way that feels respectful and relevant. Furthermore, understanding the size and setting of your audience is important as well. Are you speaking to a small, intimate group, or are you addressing a large crowd? In a small setting, you might adopt a more personal, conversational tone, encouraging interaction and dialogue. In a larger setting, you will need to project your voice more, maintain strong body language, and possibly use visual aids to keep the audience engaged. The venue itself, whether it's a conference room, a theater, or an outdoor stage, also affects how you connect with your listeners. Larger venues may require more dramatic delivery techniques, while smaller, more intimate settings allow for more subtle, conversational approaches. The best speeches are those that speak directly to the audience's needs, interests, and values. When you understand who your audience is, you can craft a message that resonates with them, using the right tone, examples, and language to make your point. A speaker who is attuned to their audience's perspectives is more likely to capture their attention and make a meaningful impact. The audience is not a passive recipient of information, they are active participants in the exchange. If you fail to understand them, they will fail to understand you. The more you know about the people you are speaking to, the more effective your message will be. Knowing your message is one of the most fundamental steps in preparing a speech. Without a clear understanding of what you want to communicate, your audience will be left confused and your words will lack direction. The core message is the central theme that will guide everything in your speech, from the language you use to the structure you choose. Without this clarity, your speech will be disjointed and ineffective, as it will lack the focus necessary to resonate with your listeners. The first step in defining your message is to simplify your thoughts. You may have a range of ideas you want to share, but it's crucial to narrow them down to one central point. A common mistake many speakers make is trying to address too many topics or ideas in a single speech. While it's tempting to cover everything you know about a subject, the result is often a speech that feels overloaded and overwhelming. Instead, focus on one key idea that encapsulates the purpose of your speech. This singular message will act as the anchor that holds everything else together. Once you define that central point, every supporting argument, example, or anecdote you use should reinforce this message. To clarify your message, ask yourself, what is the main takeaway I want my audience to leave with? This question will guide your thinking and help you distill your thoughts into something focused and coherent. For instance, if your goal is to persuade, your message might be that a particular action is necessary or beneficial. If you are giving an informative speech, your message could be an understanding or a new perspective on a subject. In an inspirational speech, the message could center around a call to action or a hopeful vision for the future. In every case, your message should be clear, simple, and concise. Avoid presenting ideas that don't contribute directly to this message. Every word you say should serve the purpose of conveying the central theme. Once you've defined the core message, you can start thinking about how to communicate it effectively. This means considering not only the content of your message, but also how you present it. Are you aiming for a logical argument, or do you want to connect emotionally with your audience? Your message will dictate your approach. For example, if your message is an argument or a call to action, you'll need to present clear reasoning and evidence to support it. Your speech should flow logically from one point to the next, building your case in a way that makes it easy for your audience to follow. If your message is more emotional or inspirational, you may use personal stories, anecdotes, or vivid language to stir the emotions of your audience, helping them connect with the message on a deeper level. Additionally, consider the context in which you are delivering your message. What is the setting? What are the current events or issues that may be relevant to your audience? Context shapes how your message is received, so it's important to ensure that it's timely and relevant. For example, if you're giving a speech during a time of crisis or uncertainty, your message may need to focus on providing reassurance, hope, or a call for action. Conversely, if you're speaking at a celebratory event, your message may be more uplifting, emphasizing achievement and future possibilities. Context is critical because it frames how your message is understood and interpreted. It's also essential to stay true to your message. One of the easiest ways for a speech to become muddled is when the speaker allows other ideas or tangents to distract from the core message. This is why clarity is so important in the planning phase. By knowing your central message, you will be able to stay focused and ensure that everything you say contributes to your overarching goal. For example, when introducing a new idea, relate it back to your main theme, showing the connection between the two. If you venture too far off topic, your audience may lose track of the original point and ultimately lose interest. At the same time, ensure that your message resonates with your audience. Understanding your audience's values and interests will help you frame your message in a way that speaks directly to them. If you're speaking to a group that values innovation and progress, your message should reflect those ideals. If your audience is more concerned with tradition or stability, your message might need to acknowledge and respect those values while still pushing for change or new ideas. Tailoring your message to your audience's needs and desires enhances its impact and increases the likelihood that your listeners will embrace it. Ultimately, knowing your message is the key to effective communication. It allows you to focus your thoughts, structure your speech, and deliver your ideas in a way that is both coherent and compelling. A clear, concise message is the bedrock upon which your entire speech is built. Without it, your words will lack power, and your speech will fall short of its potential. When preparing to deliver a speech, one of the most crucial steps is ensuring clarity in communication. This may seem like an obvious concept, but many speakers overlook how important it is to first achieve clear thinking in order to speak clearly. The power of your speech is not in the complexity of your ideas, but in how effectively you can communicate those ideas to your audience. If you have not fully clarified your own thoughts, how can you expect to convey them in a way that others will understand and embrace? Clear thinking is the foundation upon which clear speaking rests. Often, speakers rush to write or speak before they fully understand what they want to say. They may have an outline of points or a general direction, but they haven't truly refined their understanding of the subject matter. This lack of clarity can lead to scattered thoughts, disjointed arguments, and a loss of coherence in the speech itself. If your thoughts are jumbled and uncertain, your delivery will reflect that, and your audience will sense it. They will become disengaged because they will struggle to follow your argument or understand your message. Before writing or speaking, take the time to really think through what you are trying to communicate. Break down the topic in your mind, organize your ideas, and identify the key points that you want to highlight. What is it that you want your audience to understand or believe? By asking these questions, you begin to refine your thoughts and eliminate unnecessary complexity. A clear understanding of your topic allows you to deliver it in a way that is accessible and easily digestible for your audience. A speech is not a lecture or a collection of academic ideas meant for experts. It's an exchange meant to convey thoughts and ideas in a way that anyone can understand. Once you have clarity of thought, it becomes much easier to construct your speech. Your ideas will fall into place logically, each point building upon the last, creating a seamless flow of information that is easy for your audience to follow. Clear thinking helps you organize your message in a way that makes sense, ensuring that your audience can engage with it at every step. A well-thought-out speech, grounded in clarity, allows for a smooth delivery, where you can speak confidently without feeling lost or uncertain. Additionally, when you are clear on your thoughts, you avoid the common pitfall of over-explaining or rambling. Many speakers feel the need to fill every silence with words or to overcompensate for perceived gaps in knowledge. However, over-explaining can result in confusion rather than clarity. If you have clearly understood your message, you can present it concisely and confidently without needing to pad it with excessive detail or irrelevant tangents. This focused communication keeps your audience's attention and ensures they don't become overwhelmed by unnecessary information. When you communicate clearly, it allows your audience to not only hear your words but also understand the underlying meaning and emotion behind them. A clear message has the power to connect with the audience on a deeper level, because they can grasp what you're saying and respond to it. They can engage with your ideas without distractions or confusion clouding their understanding. On the other hand, when a speaker is not clear in their thinking, the audience may pick up on inconsistencies or hesitations in delivery, causing doubt or disengagement. In addition, clarity also refers to the precision of the language you use. It's easy to fall into the trap of using complex words or jargon in an attempt to sound more knowledgeable or impressive. But this often does the opposite. Complicated language can alienate or confuse your audience. Clarity requires simplicity. Using plain language and speaking directly is much more effective than relying on overly technical or elaborate vocabulary that can distract from the core message. Your speech should serve to simplify, not complicate, the message you are trying to convey. The clearer you are in your own understanding, the more effectively you will be able to communicate with your audience. Your confidence will grow, your delivery will be smoother, and your message will be stronger. The audience will understand your ideas more readily, engage with your content, and ultimately retain more of what you have shared. Clear thinking is not just about having the right words, it's about having the right understanding. When you know what you want to say and can articulate it clearly, your message will have the power to resonate and make an impact. When preparing a speech, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is storytelling. Human beings are wired for stories. They are one of the oldest and most effective ways of conveying ideas, emotions, and experiences. Stories are what make information memorable. They connect with audiences on a personal level, and they provide context that makes abstract ideas tangible. If you want your speech to resonate and leave a lasting impact, incorporating storytelling is crucial. It allows your message to reach the hearts and minds of your listeners in a way that statistics, facts, or abstract reasoning alone cannot. Storytelling can bring your ideas to life. Rather than simply presenting dry information, stories invite your audience into a world where they can visualize and feel what you are describing. They take your listeners on a journey, creating a sense of connection between your message and their own experiences. A well-told story can make an argument more compelling, a call to action more urgent, and an abstract idea more concrete. Whether it's a personal anecdote, a historical example, or a fictional narrative, stories provide a framework for people to understand and internalize your message. For example, if you're trying to persuade an audience to adopt a certain perspective or take a particular action, telling a story of someone who has experienced the benefits of that action can make the abstract idea far more relatable. Moreover, stories can create an emotional connection that raw data or theoretical arguments may lack. When you tell a story, you tap into the emotions of your audience, making them feel the highs and lows of the narrative. Emotion is one of the most powerful drivers of human behavior, and when you can move your audience emotionally, they are much more likely to engage with your message. Whether the story evokes joy, sorrow, excitement, or even fear, it stirs something deep within your listeners that makes them want to listen more closely, think more deeply, or act more decisively. A story has the ability to transform a speech from a series of isolated facts into a compelling experience. Incorporating storytelling also makes your speech more accessible and relatable. It's easy for people to tune out when they are bombarded with facts, figures, and jargon that they don't fully understand or connect with. But when you frame your message within the context of a story, it becomes easier for your audience to see themselves in the narrative. Stories are universal. They transcend boundaries of age, culture, and background. No matter who you are speaking to, a good story has the power to engage people from all walks of life. When your audience can relate to the characters, situations, or emotions in your story, they are much more likely to pay attention and absorb your message. The structure of a story also brings natural flow to your speech. Stories follow a clear beginning, middle, and end, which helps to organize your ideas in a way that is easy to follow. This structure not only helps with the overall pacing of your speech, but also makes it more enjoyable for your audience to listen to. People are naturally drawn to stories because they are inherently engaging. The suspense, conflict, and resolution that typically define a good story keep the audience interested and invested in what comes next. This storytelling structure also gives you the opportunity to highlight key points and build toward a climax, creating a sense of anticipation that keeps your audience hooked. In addition, stories can serve to reinforce the core message of your speech. When you tell a story, you are not only engaging your audience on an emotional and intellectual level, but also subtly reinforcing the main ideas or points you want to convey. A well-crafted story will support your argument and provide context that makes your message more compelling. Whether it's illustrating a problem, demonstrating a solution, or emphasizing a moral lesson, the story becomes a powerful vehicle for transmitting your message. The more vivid and well-crafted the story, the more it will echo in the minds of your listeners long after your speech has ended. While stories are incredibly effective, it's important to remember that not every story will serve every purpose. A good story should be relevant, concise, and tailored to your message. It should enhance the audience's understanding or emotional engagement, not detract from it. A meandering or irrelevant story can disrupt the flow of your speech, confuse your audience, or dilute the strength of your message. Therefore, it's important to choose stories that are meaningful, direct, and well-suited to the context of your speech. Incorporating storytelling into your speech isn't just a matter of embellishing the facts, it's about making your message resonate on a deeper level. When done correctly, storytelling elevates your speech from a mere presentation of information to a dynamic, memorable experience that moves your audience and motivates them to take action. Knowing the structure of your speech is crucial for delivering a clear, compelling message. A speech without structure can feel chaotic, leaving your audience struggling to follow along. It's not just about having a beginning, middle, and end, but about how you organize your ideas, build your argument, and guide your listeners through the journey you're presenting. A strong structure helps you deliver your message effectively, ensuring that each point you make supports your central idea, and that your audience can easily grasp and remember what you're saying. The structure of a speech typically follows a logical sequence, beginning with an introduction that sets the stage for your message. The introduction is essential because it serves as the audience's first impression of what you're going to say. It should capture their attention immediately and establish the relevance of your message. A strong opening grabs the audience's focus and makes them want to hear more. Whether it's a thought-provoking question, a powerful quote, or an intriguing story, the introduction should create an emotional or intellectual hook that draws the listener in. It should also clearly state the purpose of your speech, letting the audience know what they can expect to learn or experience. Once you've captured your audience's attention, the body of the speech is where the bulk of your message unfolds. This is where you will present your arguments, provide evidence, and elaborate on the key points that support your central idea. The body should be organized in a way that makes sense to your audience, presenting information in a logical order that builds on each previous point. For instance, if you are presenting a solution to a problem, you might begin by describing the problem, then move on to explain potential solutions, and finally present the benefits of your preferred solution. This logical progression ensures that your audience doesn't feel lost and allows them to follow your reasoning step by step. A common mistake many speakers make is overcrowding the body of the speech with too many points or too much information. Trying to cover too much ground in the body of your speech can overwhelm your audience and dilute the impact of your message. Instead, Focus on a few key ideas and develop them fully. Each point should flow naturally into the next, with clear transitions that guide your audience through the speech. You might use phrases like first, next, or finally to signal to your audience where you are in the speech, helping them stay on track and follow the logical flow of your ideas. Transitions also help reinforce the structure of your speech, making it clear that you are progressing through a carefully constructed argument rather than jumping from topic to topic to topic. The conclusion of your speech is equally important, as it provides the final impression you leave with your audience. The conclusion should summarize the key points you've made and reiterate the central message, reinforcing it so that it stays with your listeners. A strong conclusion often includes a call to action or a memorable statement that drives home the importance of your message. This final moment is your opportunity to leave your audience with something to think about or to inspire them to take action. Whether it's a challenge, a question, or a call for change, the conclusion should motivate your audience to reflect on what they've heard and consider how it applies to their own lives. In addition to organizing the content, structure also helps with timing. A well-structured speech gives you a clear roadmap, ensuring that you don't go over time or leave important points unaddressed. Knowing the flow of your speech allows you to pace yourself appropriately, allowing each part to unfold at the right speed. You can spend more time on the most important points, while briefly touching on secondary ideas. The balance between sections is essential. If you spend too much time on the introduction or conclusion, the body of the speech may feel rushed or underdeveloped. Another benefit of having a solid structure is that it makes you more confident as a speaker. When you know exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, you can focus on delivering your message with conviction, rather than worrying about what comes next. A structured speech allows you to stay focused, remain organized, and deliver your message in a way that is both engaging and impactful. Ultimately, structure is the backbone of any successful speech. It ensures that your message is clear, your points are well developed, and your audience can easily follow along. A clear structure also helps you stay on track, making the process of delivering your speech less stressful and more effective. Whether you are persuading, informing, or inspiring, the way you organize your speech will determine how well your message is received and how lasting an impact it has on your audience. The language you use in a speech plays a pivotal role in how your message is received. Words have the power to build connections, inspire action, and shape perceptions. Choosing the right language is essential, because it determines how clearly and effectively you communicate your ideas. Using precise, engaging, and accessible language helps ensure that your message resonates with your audience. If the language you use is too complicated, too vague, or too disconnected from your audience's experiences, it can create confusion and disengagement. Therefore, understanding the importance of language and choosing it wisely can make the difference between a speech that lands and one that misses the mark. The first step in using language effectively is to keep it clear and simple. People often think that using complex vocabulary or technical terms will make them sound more knowledgeable, but this can alienate or confuse the audience. Simplicity doesn't mean dumbing down your message, it means presenting it in a way that anyone can understand, regardless of their background. The goal is not to impress your audience with your vocabulary, but to connect with them and ensure that your message is easily comprehended. When you simplify your language, you make it easier for your audience to follow your argument and retain the information you're presenting. Equally important is the tone of your language. The tone you use sets the mood of your speech and can greatly influence how your message is perceived. Whether you choose a formal, conversational, humorous, or emotional tone, it must align with your message and the expectations of your audience. For instance, if you are delivering a speech meant to inspire or motivate, a passionate and uplifting tone can engage the audience and stir their emotions. Conversely, if you are presenting facts or discussing a serious topic, a more measured, authoritative tone may be more appropriate. The tone you choose also depends on your relationship with the audience. Speaking to a professional group may require a more formal tone, while addressing a community group or close-knit gathering might allow for a more casual and conversational approach. Consistency in tone is key. Switching between contrasting tones can create confusion or disrupt the flow of your message. Another crucial aspect of language and speech is the use of imagery and metaphors. Our brains are wired to respond to vivid, concrete images. When you use metaphors or descriptive language, you create mental pictures that make your ideas more memorable and relatable. For instance, instead of saying the process was difficult, you could say the process felt like climbing a steep mountain. each step requiring more effort than the last. This evokes a stronger emotional response and helps the audience connect with the struggle in a more tangible way. Imagery and metaphors bring your message to life, making abstract concepts easier to grasp. They also engage the imagination, which can keep your audience interested and prevent them from tuning out. Repetition is another effective tool in choosing language. Repeating key phrases or ideas throughout your speech can help reinforce your message and ensure that it sticks with the audience. By repeating certain phrases, you draw attention to the most important aspects of your message, making them more memorable. However, repetition should be used purposefully and sparingly. Too much repetition can become tiresome and lose its impact. The key is to emphasize the core message without overwhelming the audience with redundant language. The use of rhetorical questions is also a valuable technique. Rhetorical questions engage the audience by making them reflect on the points you're making. These questions aren't meant to be answered aloud, but to provoke thought and encourage deeper engagement with the topic. For example, how would you feel if you could make a real difference in someone's life today? Such a question compels the listener to reflect on their own experiences, making them more connected to the message being delivered. In addition to clarity, tone, imagery, and repetition, the language you use should be appropriate for the context and your audience. Understanding their values, concerns, and communication preferences will guide your word choice. A formal audience, for example, may appreciate more sophisticated or technical language, while a casual audience may respond better to conversational and straightforward language. Similarly, cultural sensitivities should be considered. Words and phrases that resonate in one cultural context may be offensive in another. Being aware of these nuances ensures that your language is not only effective but also respectful and inclusive. Ultimately, the language you choose is the bridge between your ideas and your audience. By selecting words that are clear, engaging, and relevant, you make it possible for your message to be understood, remembered, and acted upon. Language is not just a tool for conveying information, it's a way of building rapport, creating connection, and ensuring that your message lands with the audience in a meaningful way. When used thoughtfully, language has the power to transform a speech from a simple exchange of words into an impactful and memorable experience. The ability to connect with your audience is perhaps one of the most important aspects of delivering an effective speech. When you speak, you're not merely presenting information, you're engaging with people. It is crucial that you forge a relationship with your audience, making them feel involved, valued, and connected to the message you're sharing. This connection creates an environment where your words can have a lasting impact, where your audience is not only listening but actively participating in the experience of your speech. To achieve this connection, you must be aware of both the verbal and non-verbal elements that contribute to a successful speech. First, consider the power of eye contact. It's often said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and in communication, eye contact serves as a vital channel through which you can build rapport with your audience. By looking at different members of the audience throughout your speech, you create a sense of personal engagement. It shows that you are not merely delivering a monologue, but that you are speaking directly to them, as if you are having a conversation. It makes people feel seen and heard. Eye contact also enhances your credibility, as it conveys confidence and sincerity. When you look your audience in the eyes, they perceive you as someone who believes in what you're saying and is genuinely invested in communicating effectively. Beyond eye contact, your body language speaks volumes about your connection with the audience. Nonverbal cues, such as posture, gestures, and facial expressions, all convey meaning. If you stand rigidly or avoid moving, your audience may perceive you as disengaged or nervous. On the other hand, open, confident body language can create a sense of trust and openness. When you use hand gestures to emphasize key points, or when your body naturally aligns with the rhythm of your speech, you are reinforcing your words and creating a more dynamic presence. Your physical movement should complement your speech, not distract from it. It's also important to mirror the energy of the room. If you're addressing a group that is energized, matching that energy with enthusiastic gestures and a lively tone will help maintain that connection. If the topic is more serious or somber, a more composed demeanor may be appropriate. Tone of voice is another essential tool for creating engagement. The way you use your voice influences how your message is perceived and how connected you are to your audience. A monotonous, flat delivery can cause your audience to lose interest, no matter how important your content may be. A varied tone, on the other hand, keeps people attentive. By changing your pitch, speed, and volume, you can emphasize key points, create drama, or add warmth to your delivery. For example, slowing down when sharing an important thought allows the audience to absorb the message, while raising your voice slightly can signal excitement or urgency. A conversational tone can also make the audience feel as though they are included in a dialogue rather than being lectured to. This sense of conversation, even in a formal speech, helps bridge the gap between you and your audience, making them feel as though they are part of the discussion. Effective communication isn't just about the message, it's about creating an environment where the audience feels comfortable and engaged. One powerful way to create this environment is through listening. While speeches are often about talking, the ability to listen is just as important in connecting with your audience. When you are attuned to their reactions, you can adjust your approach accordingly. Whether it's noticing when they are disengaged or recognizing when a point has particularly resonated, being in tune with the audience allows you to adapt and respond in real time. This might mean adjusting the pace of your speech, adding humor to lighten the mood, or elaborating on a point to make it clearer. By being responsive to the cues your audience gives you, you demonstrate that their presence matters, that their engagement is vital to the success of your speech. In addition to responding to the audience's reactions, involving them directly can help foster a deeper connection. Asking rhetorical questions, prompting them to reflect on a personal experience, or even encouraging a brief interaction can make the speech feel more like a shared experience. When you ask questions, you invite the audience to actively participate in the thinking process. It makes them feel involved and invested in what you're saying. This inclusion encourages the audience to see themselves as part of the conversation, rather than passive listeners. It also creates a sense of community, where both speaker and listener are working toward understanding and insight together. Humor is another tool that can help you connect with your audience, though it should be used judiciously and appropriately. A well-placed joke or lighthearted comment can break the ice and make the audience more comfortable. Humor creates a sense of relatability, allowing you to humanize yourself and build trust with your listeners. It shows that you are approachable and that you recognize the shared experience of being present at your speech. However, humor must align with the tone of your speech and resonate with your audience. What might be funny in one context could fall flat or be inappropriate in another, so it's essential to gauge your audience and tailor your use of humor accordingly. Ultimately, connecting with your audience requires a combination of verbal and non-verbal communication. By maintaining eye contact, using engaging body language, varying your tone of voice, being responsive to the audience, and even involving them in the speech, you create a dynamic interaction that allows your message to truly resonate. When you connect with your audience in a meaningful way, your words take on more significance, your message becomes more impactful, and your speech becomes a memorable experience. In conclusion, crafting an impactful speech is an art that requires careful consideration of several key elements. By clarifying your intentions before you begin writing, you lay the foundation for a focused and purposeful message. Structuring your speech ensures clarity, guiding your audience through a logical progression that allows them to easily absorb your ideas. Choosing your language thoughtfully using clarity, tone, imagery, and rhetorical techniques creates a bridge between you and your audience, making your message not only understood but felt. Incorporating storytelling enriches your speech, making it relatable and memorable, while maintaining a strong connection with your listeners keeps them engaged and invested in what you have to say. Every speech is an opportunity to make a lasting impact, and when these elements come together, intent, structure, language, storytelling, and connection, the result is a powerful and persuasive experience that resonates far beyond the moment. Whether you're informing, persuading, or inspiring, the key to success lies in knowing exactly what you want to convey, how to organize it, and how to present it in a way that moves and engages your audience. When you master these principles, you elevate your communication and leave a meaningful imprint on those who listen.